Today on Weenie NB, Fabled Hero. Fabled Hero is an excellent creature from Theros block. For 2 white and 1, you get a 2/2 creature with double strike. It also has the added ability of Heroic. That means whenever you cast a spell that targets Fabled Hero, you put a +1/+1 counter on Fabled Hero. What this translates out to is you have a 2/2 double strike creature that whenever you target with any type of a spell, that can be an instant, a sorcery, or an aura spell, and that effect will give it a +1/+1 counter. Now, there are a lot of different strategies that can utilize this, but to be honest, what you really want is something that's repeatable, and that means either buyback or some type of recursion ability. And usually that means pulling something out of the graveyard, and that's actually very difficult to do. It's nicer when you have a card that's actually built in, like Conviction. Conviction is 1/1 white, enchantment, aura, of course, and the enchanted creature gets +1/+3. And then for 1 white mana, you can return Conviction to owner's hand. Originally, this is from Stronghold. Originally, that just meant your aura didn't get destroyed as easily. That was an effect that they brought about in Tempest because people didn't want to play enchantments, and people still don't like playing enchantments. So that's why Bestow was made in Theros block, and why they had these auras that return to your hand so you could cast them again, keep them safe. You could play things like Flickering Ward, for example. So you could cast Conviction targeting the Fabled Hero. It would get a +1/+1 counter, and then it would get +1/+3 from Conviction. On your opponent's turn, at the end of their turn, you could pay 1 white mana, return Conviction to your hand, and cast it again on your turn. Now that's just in white. This combos very well. Obviously, I said Flickering Ward. You could play a lot of other effects that put auras back into your hand from your graveyard, or perhaps recursive things like Blessed Halo, was it? Something like that. Yeah. There's a lot of cards that allowed you to keep casting things. But in this case, we want to talk a little bit more about being able to recast things or get as much as we can out of Fabled Hero. So instead of just playing white, we might play this in a red and white deck and play something like Seething Anger. Now, Seething Anger by itself is 100 mana, and it gives the target creature +3/+0 until end of turn. So obviously, with Fabled Hero, you target it, you'd give it +1/+1 from Heroic, and then it would get +3/+0 until end of turn, making it a 6/2 double striking creature, and that's really, really strong. But then because of the way Seething Anger works, you can pay a buyback of 3 colorless. Paying the 3 colorless mana means Seething Anger comes back to your hand instead of going to the graveyard on resolution. So, for 1 red mana and 3, you cast it targeting the Fabled Hero, it gets a +1/+1 counter, and this comes back to your hand. For an additional 1 red, you then cast it again, targeting it again, and giving it another +3/+0, which would give it essentially +8. This would be a 10/4 double striking creature until end of turn, which should be fatal. So that means with 5 mana, if you can swing out with a Fabled Hero and keep it alive until end of turn, and there's a lot of ways you can actually do that, that would be enough to win the game, essentially. Yeah. So that's just in red and white. We could actually go green and white and play something like Hardened Scales, which wonderfully combines very well with Heroic ability. So every time we'd cast something targeting the Fabled Hero, we'd put a counter, and then Hardened Scales says, well, actually, you can put 2 counters. Essentially doubling the number of counters. Not quite the effect, but that works very, very well. So green-white works very well with Fabled Hero. It works into a lot of different decks. You could actually play this in a commander game, and it could win you the game with 1 swing with enough counters put on it or enough boosts and bolstering effects, etc. So Fabled Hero is an excellent card. It was a staple for a lot of decks in Standard that were fun, nice tabletop game. It was casual. Just, it's all around a very, very good creature. Fabled Hero, it's a weenie that you would envy. So, I hope you enjoy the video. I hope you're having a wonderful morning, wonderful afternoon, or wonderful evening, and I hope tomorrow's even better. Take care, everybody.